Talk about Boots. Now, there's one show I've not seen this show yet, but I definitely need to check it out because it's been look, there's a lot of shows that I'm trying to catch up on. But apparently, there was a whole big situation where this show Boots, which is about um some gay military dudes. Well, there's some gays in the military. A closeted gay teenager from Louisiana who enlists in the Marine Corps, and it's set in the 90s, around the time when I think Don't Ask, Don't Tell was pretty much prominent. Courtesy of Bill Clinton. Yeah, Democrats ain't no innocent in a lot of the stuff that happened to do with the gays. Yeah, I don't know if it's performative, but they've, come out on the end differently where it shows like you're supportive of the LGBTQ community. But for the most part, y'all don't get no brownie points from the way y'all treated the gays back in the day. They're saying they evolved, let's go along with it. So speaking about Boots, the series creator, Andy Parker, hold on, because now my damn Siri thought I was calling her. Let me turn that off. Um, Andy Parker basically said that the Pentagon condemning the show for clout by saying it's woke garbage has only brought more eyes to the show. So Boot star Miles Heiser and Cameron Cope stars them and is inspired by real life experiences of former U.S. Marine Greg Cope White via his memoir, The Pink Marine. Now, after the show released this month, a U.S. media outlet contacted the Pentagon, which I don't even understand why they would do that, but they know the people who's running around in this whole situation, and they're looking for anybody to get any kind of, it's all clout. That's all they do with these things. Oh, let's get a comment from the Pentagon and see what they say. So yeah, they called it woke garbage and an ideological agenda, basically dismissing the fact that there are homosexuals, whether closeted or uncloseted, gays and trans people. We got to focus on the gays because that's what this is about. That were actively in the military at the time and are still in the military. So now, after the show released this month, a U.S. media outlet contacted the Pentagon for their thoughts. While Boots has been very well received, the Pentagon statement was not. Boots' audience on Netflix doubled in its second week of release per Vanity Fair, saying, quote, I guess we have to give some credit to the Pentagon there, don't we? At creator Andy Parker told the publication. I would be very surprised if the Pentagon actually watched the show. The premise itself instigates or incites some kind of reaction or assumptions. What I would invite people to do is to watch the show and see how they feel about the questions the show is trying to provoke. I certainly never set out to make anything that was propaganda, and I really reject the idea that it is. The fact that we seem to be situated between these two different sides is evidence of how the show wants to approach these really thorny, interesting questions. Boots is trying to navigate this in a nuanced way that isn't so overly strident in its attacks or in its politics. I think it's after something more subtle. There's politics involved in all of these questions. What's happening to trans people now and the policies that are being inflicted on trans service members now. What our show shines the light on is what is the cost of that? What is the cost to the people who are affected by these policies? What is the cost to the institution itself when you have to inflict that on service members who want to serve honorably and with dignity? And this is what people need to understand. And that's, I think, one of the things I love about a show like Boots. The fact that we need to show that there's more to being a gay in media than some femme queen that is being a stereotype, the sidekick to some straight person, or they do drag and all. And we love, I love my drag queens, but yeah, we definitely need more variety. And there are gay men who do what is considered masculine things, joining one of the most craziest or most strenuous of um military operations. That would be Marines. Now, join the Marine Corps, I know that's hardcore. Let me tell you something. I actually almost joined the Marines back when I was in college. We have some recruiters that wanted me to come in and join the military. I did go down there and do the math test. And then I started, you have to take like tests and other stuff. One of them is like a math test or whatever. And I remember like when I went in there, I didn't even tell my parents I went. I just went down there because I was like, you know what, maybe it would be a good idea to join the military because like they pay for college, you get benefits, all that other stuff. So, but that's the thing that's how they try to get you, especially when you coming from what is considered poor areas or whatever the case is. Because at one point, I did go to community college before I wound up going to a private college. And so I went down there and took the test or whatever, and then I started kind of like having second thoughts. So I purposely tanked the math test so that way I wouldn't make it. It was always a method to my madness when I do. So I was like, I ain't joining the military. I started thinking about, oh, I might lose a limb. Like I think I had just seen, you know, I think it was like Saving Private Ryan was prominent around that time. I was like, or the military movies. I was like, no, I'm good. So yeah, I like that they want to shine a light on different things that have to protect with queer people and doing this sort of thing. And yes, gays do exist in the military. Trans people do exist in the military. I know they have, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but are putting things in place where they're removing trans people from serving in the military and them having benefits. And they're trying to roll back a lot of the policies that the progressive policies where we're trying to show that people should be on equal footing. Now, are we going to sit up here and try to act like that there isn't any homosexuality that goes on in the military? There is, because I was watching, I forget this YouTuber, I think it was Matt Cullen, did an interview with a guy who was a go-go dancer and also, at sometimes he would go-go dance, but he also was in the military. And because he's on the military, he doesn't have to pay. I think it was in Hawaii that he doesn't have to pay for staying on the base, whatever. But he was somebody, yeah, he go dancing. He gets down with some of the men that's in the military. So a lot of gay stuff goes on that y'all not even aware of. So yeah, while we have progressed more, and there's still like this, I think that they're trying to roll back a lot of the rights, especially in this current administration. Um, these are stories that I feel like that definitely needs to be told. So Andy Parker also told Vanity Fair, as a closeted homosexual high school kid, he was in a similar situation to Cameron, running away from himself and considering joining the military. That may have been one of the reasons why I thought about joining too. But then luckily I had come across a lot of gays in my life via one of my friends, Shamik, who introduced me to like his cousin who was a homosexual. And I started going over with him to his house, and I saw that he was a black man married to another black man who was a nurse, and then making friends with a lot of the older gays who took me under their wing and taught me the ways of what it's like. They were the Jedi and I was the Padawan, and I was learning all the ways of how to protect myself in situations, what to look out for. So luckily I had a tribe of people that kind of put me on the right map instead of me having to join a facility, which yeah is about brotherhood and that sort of thing. Maybe that is the core situation when it's military, like you want to join for the brotherhood situation. But there's other people that, when we have a government that pretty much just choose military, veterans up and spits them out, and then they got mental health issues, they end up homeless, doing drugs. There's a lot, not all of them, but a lot of them do end up kind of broken based on things that they've seen and not getting um the mental health help that they need. Where it's like, yeah, so he said, I was very actively seeking that. There was a personal connection to the idea of a gay kid running off to join the Marines and not really understanding what that was going to do for him or where that was going to ultimately lead him. It felt like this was a road not taken. This is a path I could have gone on. How would I have done? And so there is, as I should point out, there is no official word from Netflix on whether or not Boots will get a second season, but they said the cast is ready to return. And Miles Heiser basically told the Decider recently, I would literally do anything for a season two. And they said the show was left on a bit of a cliffhanger. Simultaneously, it's very powerful ending to see the beautiful camaraderie and then this harsh reality of what they actually signed up for hits them. And I think that's what it was too. It's like, do you want like I said before, even though this is literally, me reacting as I'm reading the article, but that was kind of like the mindset that I was in when I was young and naive and wanted to join the military. Like you feel like you're lost, you're trying to find yourself, you're still discovering who you are as a homosexual man. So you go into it because it's like, oh yeah, because the thing that they sell you on wanted to join the military, and then the harsh reality of once you sign up and you join the military, what's really, Miley was really good, like in that whole situation. And then that reality is like, oh fuck, what did I just sign myself up for? So he said that it would be very interesting to explore in season two, especially for Cameron, who really was just running away from his family and wanted to be with his best friend, suddenly realizing this is a very serious decision. And it's like a lot of time, I think that's also why they go for younger people, because younger people, we tend to dive into things head first, and we don't really think about the consequences of why we jump into the things that we jump into. And then when you jumped into it, because yeah, our frontal lobes don't fully develop until we like 25. So yeah, we jump into things and then we like, oh shit, what did I just do? So I totally get it, and Boots is definitely something that I want to get a chance to watch. But because it's October, y'all know I love my horror movies. Even though all year round I make horror movie my situation, I really dive deep into the horror stuff during the month of October. So that's why I haven't really been catching up on new shows and stuff. And plus, I already told you I got caught up in a whole Maze Runner situation. So, let me know what you guys think of this story. Have you checked out Boots yet? What do you think of the show? I'm really hoping that this show gets a season two, because we need more diverse queer stories being told, especially on Netflix. And sometimes I really don't fully invest in Netflix, because Netflix has a horrible track record of giving shows more than one season. I invest time into their shows and it's like, oh, it's been canceled after one season. I'm like, what? Like, why y'all keep playing with me? So I definitely want to hear from y'all in regards to, have you seen the show? What do you think of the show? All that good stuff. And if you can relate to what Boots is about. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.